I'm Matt.
I'm Shane.
And if you like what you hear, make sure you hit that thumbs up button real hard, and make sure you subscribe to Comic Movie Marks.
And also click that little bell for all of the notifications.
Whee!
Always remember,
if Trailer Trash can do it,
anyone can do it.
Hello and welcome everyone to another Comic Movie Marks video.
One of the most talked about and possibly speculated scenes that we've had from BVS about possibly existing has finally been confirmed. We're a little late to the show here, but we're going to fucking talk about it anyways. It's the scene where Superman apparently floats up and he listens to all the screams and cries for help, or while he's searching for his mom.
Yeah, we're going to talk about this. We're not that far behind on this, but when are we ever on time with anything? Snyder talks about Batman vs. Superman, what could have been in Batman vs. Superman, certain scenes, certain things missing, alterations. Again, kind of confirms that, you know, this may not be the director's cut. It is an ultimate cut, but I still feel like there's obviously a cut out there that is definitely much more fulfilling than this one. But we could talk about this one now, continuing the saga where people still don't accept the answer when it comes straight from the horse's mouth, Zack Snyder himself.
All right, so our good friend over at DC Films Hub, John Garza. I mean, we know him by John. I'm just kidding. We don't know these guys, but he had sent a message. We are friends with them on Vero, by the way, and Twitter. So just throwing that out there. He sent a quick. I guess he added. Is that what the kids are saying? Zack Snyder on Vero and said, so at Benjamin Everts was wondering if this was the moment where Superman actually went to search for Martha and heard all the voices he couldn't do anything about in BVS at Zack Snyder. And he's referencing the picture that has floated around for a really long time of Henry Cavill's Superman kind of hovering there. As Matt and I, before we were recording, we were kind of talking about that potentially we thought that was from when he's talking to Lois and he says no one stays good in this world and then kind of flies off initially. And then Zack Snyder replies, it is a green screen shot. He flies up above the city and hovers. The camera begins to rotate around him as he hears the cries of citywide crime going on. And as we get closer, he is in pain because he knows if he tries to find her this way, he will have to ignore the countless crimes going on in the two cities and the world.
Well, that's something that we heard years ago. I actually looked on our old Ultimate Edition breakdown, and there's somebody in the comments that actually brings up this exact scenario, almost word for word. And I thought back then it was confirmed, but it appears it may not have been. It might have just been rumor and speculation at the time. Well, now Zack has confirmed it.
Yeah, this is one of those weird things. There's a lot of stuff that floats around, even stuff that I hear about cutscenes from Man of Steel that have still been rumored, still floated around. And a lot of them, there's so much out there, you kind of take it for what it's worth. But yeah, as Matt said, this is something that since BVS was released, the Ultimate Edition, this is a rumor that we've heard for a long time, that this scene existed somewhere. And then Zack thought it would be too dark and cut it. We couldn't find any sort of confirmation on that in doing a little bit of research. And so here it is. He finally confirms, yeah, that scene existed, but they cut it for one reason or another. Whether it was too dark, who knows?
I've actually speculated this before. And when it came to the Martha scene, when Screen Rant did that article about the Martha scene, explaining it further, how the people on set that worked on the movie felt that it was pretty clear what it was supposed to mean, that they were still confused by the attacks and the people's inability to understand what the scene really was, or just not being able to accept it for what it was. And I even said then that Zack Snyder could do a frame-by-frame shot of it and explain in detail exactly the moment, every facial expression, and people will still be upset. They'll still be upset, and they still won't accept any answers that he gives for this, because for some reason there just seems to be this flat-out hatred for Zack Snyder. Don't really quite ever understand where it comes from. I guess people will blame bloggers and critics. They fueled this animosity towards him. I don't even know where that original animosity started. I don't know. I mean, like, there's like Michael Bay out there, which people seem to hate, but I mean, I don't know. I just don't see the same hatred for a lot of different directors out there So we actually got this Twitter feed here pulled up on our, and
man.
it's a doozy. And like I said, they could get this explained to them in detail, but a lot of people are just not going to accept it. Again, the power of the internet gives people a voice that they normally wouldn't have. And a lot of people just post stuff without checking to make sure that they're right or wrong on what they put out there. They're just saying it to say it. So this guy, Zack, you can't be serious. So he ignored searching for Martha because of the other crimes that he didn't stop, in parentheses, and yet he made time to rescue fucking Lois. Man, if you don't get the hell out of here.
You can't be serious, man. You cannot be serious!
I'm going to just take what he typed in here for what it is. One, he saved Lois before he even knew anything was going on with Martha.
Right.
So his time frame is wrong already.
Yeah, there's even the part where Superman, after saving her, flies back up and can't remember the exact line, but Luthor says something about the important woman in his life, and he says, she's safe on the ground. How about you? So obviously, if you pay fucking attention, there is a timeline here, and he saved Lois long before Martha.
So this whole thread is just phenomenal, because there are some people that are obviously contending with him and trying to explain to him how things are. There's some people that agree with him as well. There's one other person here. Superman could literally stop those crimes while he's on his way trying to find her. Zack, that doesn't make fucking sense.
That don't make no sense.
It's not practical. The process of thinking here, and I'm not trying to be mean towards people, but you're being stupid. You're just being fucking stupid. And it's just it's baffling to me. You can't at least even fathom the idea of having concept of being able to hear a vast amount of people, the voices rushing through your head, the power it takes to control that type of idea, the heat vision, the X-ray vision, all that stuff. And you just think that he's going to be able to home in on like these people, save them, and that he's going to just be able to keep through in this process. And then this person puts, he can clear a building in 5 seconds. I'm sure he could stop some petty crimes. How do you get this arbitrary number? He could clear a building in 5 seconds.
Even if you picture that, like picture that exact thing happening. Like, okay, I'm going to have to try to find Martha, but I'm also going to go and try to stop all the crimes, not just in the city, but in the fucking world. Like, he can hear everything. If he's sitting there hovering and he's trying to find her, he's going to hear everyone's screams, and then he's going to go stop all these petty crimes. You know, just zip through in a fucking flash and, you know, oh, let me steal this gun, or let me save this person from getting mugged, or like, do you think about that? Do you listen to yourself? Though the way that I picture it, unfortunately, Superman has to ignore some things. If you think about, he's one person in the entire fucking world.
That's the whole concept of the God theme.
Yeah.
Is that he can't be all good and be all powerful. He cannot be all powerful and be all good. That is the theme that Lex is pointing out throughout the whole movie.
He takes sides.
He has to choose who lives and who dies. That's what the woman, the African woman, is saying on TV. Who is he to justify who lives? Like, it's all over the movie. And that is the burden that he is bearing with him at the moment. At the time, he has to deal with this all the time because he is super fucking man. He's equivalent to what we would assume a god would be. But God can't do everything. Even look at Bruce Almighty. When he converts it to something as simple as emails, he still can't handle every prayer.
Fucking great reference. I applaud you. That's fantastic.
That's email form, all right, people? And look how fast he types. It's just baffling to me that this idea, this concept just doesn't get wrapped around your brain and that you can't feasibly understand this. The original poster of this, do people forget that Superman has super speed almost as good as the Flash? Flash is faster, but Supes is fast as fuck. I'm not going to say AF because that's fucking stupid. As fuck himself. He literally could save hella people at once.
Really?
No, not really. I can't back that up.
Right. Idiot. Yes.
Yes, he's fast. But how fast is he in this universe? We're not talking about comics. We're talking about this universe. Flash is just starting out in Justice League. He's just learning his powers. He's nowhere near what like the CW Flash is doing, where he's turning back time. He's breaking the Speed Force. We've never got an instance where fucking Ezra Miller's version of Barry Allen is breaking the Speed Force. Basically, just starting out. So to say that he's faster than him, plus that was a made up stupid scene for fucking comedic purposes. It wasn't a real test of speed. We don't know how fast this Superman is. Another comment. So Zack is saying that Superman, who can fly at light speed, think about that for a second, can't fly fast enough to save multiple people. Get out of here. That's trash.
Not normally a praying man, but if you're up there, please save me, Superman.
How fast is light speed? 186,000 miles per second. Per second. Could you imagine how fast that bathtub scene was? Jesus.
Bam. Talk about a quickie.
Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. I hope you're satisfied.
Man, I swear, these fucking people, do they even listen to themselves? As I was reading through this one person, this kind of made me laugh. He says, better yet, why didn't he just reverse the rotation of the Earth and turn back time to prevent Martha from getting kidnapped in the first place?
At best in the universe that we got is that Superman can probably fly about Mach 1, Mach 2, which is breaking the speed of sound. Mach 1 is breaking the speed of sound, so Mach 2 is going 2 times the speed of sound. Because you can hear it when he flies. The booms. That's the sonic booms you hear when he flies. So at best, I think we've heard like 2 when he takes off. Maybe you could go upwards to 3. So that's your best count of speed right there. You people just don't fucking pay attention.
What do you mean, you people?
So it's just that this is just some examples that we're seeing here throughout this whole little charade. I mean, people just don't get it. I mean, people are still, and people just don't understand. Again, there was like one thing from the Nerdist where it was like, why couldn't they have an explanation that maybe Lex Luthor built a machine where he couldn't hear Martha screaming? I'm like, it's literally in the pictures. It's literally in the pictures. She has a rag over her mouth.
Yep.
There's your fucking machine.
Exactly.
That diabolical thing. How did he think of that? And even when she's sitting there and she's stuck with them, there's a dude with a machine gun pointing right at her fucking head. You think she's going to scream for the chance for the split second that her son might be able to hear her and she get blasted in the head?
That's the thing that makes me laugh when people are like, oh, he could just zip around. He's at the fucking speed of light and stop all these petty crimes. Okay, so he's not going to assess the situation first. So just because he can hear everything, he has to assess it at some point. So it's going to take longer than just, like, in these people's mind, it's like he just zips around and boom, 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 all this shit is stopped. No. Even when Lois was in Africa and she gets grabbed by, the terrorist dude, he comes crashing down. There's a couple of seconds of, like, something happening where he's like, okay, let me assess the situation, then boom. He's under a strict fucking time limit, even if that was the case, and he decided to go save all these people. That's the thing. It just fucking blows me away. What this whole scene reminds me of, and what I always pictured back when it was first speculated and rumored, was in Superman Returns, where he floats above the world and he just is hearing all the sirens and all the commotion, and then he zips down. It's a great scene in that okay movie. But that's what it always reminded me of. And if you think about him trying to search for his mom, yeah, she's not gonna be able to scream, and he's in a panic. He's gonna hear all of this commotion. To a point, as I mentioned earlier, Superman has to ignore some stuff. He's not allowing. He's trying to hone in on his powers. Pretending it's an island out in the ocean. That whole thing. He's trying to to bring it all in so that he can just focus on what he needs to focus on, not everything. And yeah, that doesn't mean that he still doesn't obviously save people. He's dragging the ship. You have the whole saving montage in Batman v Superman. So he's still trying to prioritize, okay, who gets saved. But that's the beauty of Batman versus Superman, is it's really showing if a person had these godlike powers and had to choose, how do you do that? How do you choose fucking saving a cat out of a tree or saving people out of a burning building? But what's more important? Who's the one to decide that? And he, because he has these powers, has to be the one to decide that. And then you get to the next part where he says no one stays good in this world, and you can just see the frustration in his face. And I feel like that's kind of where this scene might have been. And it, you know, transitions down to his interaction with Lois, and he's like, fuck, like, what do I do? And you can just feel that. And you know, people give Henry Cavill shit for only having a short amount of lines.
To kind of break it down just quickly about the scene. So at best, this Superman, we think, can fly at Mach 1, Mach 2, Mach 3, you know, Gillette, the best a man can get. And people keep bringing up, well, he found Lois. Well, there's a special kinship with Lois. Luthor knows that Superman is always homed in on Lois. That's why he went to Africa. She even says that. How would he know that Superman would be in Africa? Because of her. And Luthor even says the shortest distance between any 2 points is a straight path. And that path is to Superman is Lois Lane. And he pushes her right off the fucking building. He gets it. There's a special kinship between the two. He finds her. He's not looking for his mother. He's assuming she's fine in Kansas on her own. Luthor even tells him, Luthor says, if you kill me, Martha dies. If you fly away, Martha dies. Does that help? If he flies away, Martha dies. People probably may ask, well, how is he going to find him? How's he going to track him? Well, the military's tracking him. Military's tracking Superman and Doomsday when they fight. So you're telling me Luthor can't do the same? It's not that hard to figure this shit out. And the time limit at best, when Martha sees the clock, is at 35 minutes. He's got roughly 35 minutes to start finding the shit or fight Batman. Try to convince him. So this guy's weighing the situation between his mother, the people of Metropolis, the issue with Batman, and whatever the hell is going on in the ship.
I'm not saying that this movie is not free of plot holes.
Oh, no. There's even in that moment, even in that whole sequence there's Wonder Woman's teleporting abilities.
Right. I do feel that, you know, people can say what they want about Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor, but this is one of my favorite scenes because you really see how much he's manipulating everything, how he's pulling the puppet strings, and how he's thought about everything. And even in, as we talked about, just fucking some Polaroid, which I don't know why I have some Polaroid, maybe for dramatic effects, but even in some Polaroid pictures.
It's a Polaroid picture.
Couldn't he just like had his phone and just swiped? But it shows Martha, you know, with the fucking, her mouth tied, so she's not gonna be able to scream. So there's so much detail in Luthor's plan that of course he's gonna leave it to where, hey, guess what? Your only option is you fucking go bring me the head of the bat. That's your only option at this point. And Superman is trying to figure out like, well, I'm obviously not gonna do that. So how do I save my mom in this very short period of time? He even brings up the fact that when you got here, you had an hour. Now it's less or whatever. It's just it's so well thought out. And yeah, even though there's plot holes in the movie, there's this whole part where you can really see how Luthor is trying to bring these two together because he has to prove that Superman, he's not all good and all powerful. That's his objective, a God complex.
And to me, that scene, if it was left in, would even encapsulate that even more. Because he would have to ignore the people in order to try to locate Martha. The complexity is not that difficult. It's fairly straightforward. You just gotta pay attention to the movie. And especially the Ultimate Edition. I feel like a lot of these people that make comments had just saw the theatrical version and then relied on whatever bloggers have said since then. And that's what they're using. And that's the problem. When you're trying to state things as fact, or that you're proving someone wrong, or you're saying, oh, this man needs to get out of here, You can't tell the director to get out of here when you saw his movie once in theaters and it wasn't even the complete version. Which, hell, even the version we got, Ultimate One, it sounds like it's still not the complete version. People, look back. Look back just for a moment. You can see these clips on YouTube, for God's sakes. You don't even have to pay a dime. Go on YouTube and just put in the clips at the moments of what is happening, and it'll play 4 or 5 minutes. They're up there. All of them are up there. Just to refresh yourself, so you don't sound like a goddamn idiot. It would save you a lot of time and a lot of grief.
Research something? Nah.
And that's how we'll end it, in case I don't see you.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
But because this is a character, 75 years of stories have gone on with Superman, you're literally talking about a guy who has been through every single thing you can imagine, and every incarnation you can imagine. Horses, monkeys, dogs, they've thrown the kitchen sink at this guy, that it's fun to be able to distill him down to that, like, what I would consider is just kind of like the best bits of him.
Congratulations, you made it to the end of the video. You're one of very few to make it to the end.
Yes, thank you very much.
Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to Comic Movie Marks Podcast and hit the notification bell. All these fucking YouTube channels say this shit, so I'm going to say it now.
Yes, it's perfect. And if you want to hear our full podcast, you can check out our podcast on iTunes or any other podcast subscription service.
Make sure you subscribe. Thanks again.